Okay, so the topic that we're looking at today in this new video, which we started, is forming and solving equations. This has been taken from the book Verbal Reasoning Technique and Practice 3. So we're changing the English wordy sentences into maths, and then we are solving them. So the first question, which I forgot to record, is this one here, which I'm going to read through with you, is over here. I'll cut and paste the question, there it is. So we're translating word for word. So Umeza, just make sure you just switch if your microphone's off, switch it back on. And can you read for us the first question? Don't switch your video on, please. All the students, keep your video switched off. Just you can talk when I've asked you to join me in the session. Give me a second. Let me find where the participants have gone. There they are. So Umeza, please, can you join me and read the question first, please? 15 is?
If 15 is 3 more than half this number.
So what does the word 15 translate into when I change it into my formula? Does 15, what 15 means?
15.
Lovely. What does is mean?
Equals.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, like if I say, for example, I say Umeza is amazing. I'm telling you what you are. Yeah. So this 15 is telling us what it is, which means equal to. Okay, if I say to you, my book is red, it's like saying my book equals red. Lovely. I'll read the next part. The next part, 3 more than. What does 3 more than mean?
Plus 3.
Okay, when you make anything 3 more than, you are adding 3 onto it, which we've been doing earlier in the lesson. And the last part of the sentence?
Half this number.
So what is the number? We don't know what the number is. So what do we call the number?
X.
X. So how do you half X?
Divided by 2.
Beautiful. So if you look at the next line, we've got 15 equals plus 3, X over 2. That's written raw. So to make it look more beautiful, we put it into the blue ink. 15 equals X over 2 plus 3. Because we're adding 3 onto something that's done after, so we put that other bit first. And that makes more sense right that way. So where do we start the question when we have to solve it now, Umeza?
The second action.
Okay, so first of all, I want you to look over here. Where do we start our question?
Oh, X.
We always start at X. We want to work out the X. We're trying to solve now for X. So what do we do? What do we need to do next?
We identify the steps or actions.
Okay, so what is the first step in brown? What is the first step?
The first step is X divided by 2.
Okay, now remember X is where we started from. The actual action is actually just divide by 2, not X divide by 2. So that's fine. We're doing divide by 2 is the first thing done to the X. What's the second thing being done to the X?
Plus 3.
Okay, lovely. Now, when we move the actions to solve it, which actions do we move first? Do I move the first one first?
The second one.
Okay, we always start from the end. So if you have 3 actions, we start from the third, then the second, then the first. We always go in reverse order. Okay, so we are going in reverse order for solving. So what did you move first then? What did we move first?
Plus 3.
Because that's, okay, what's the opposite of plus 3?
Minus 3.
Okay, lovely. What's 15 minus 3?
12.
Okay, what do we do next? We copy what we have left over down. What we have left over, if you move the plus 3?
Divide by 2.
X divided by 2, lovely. So what's left to move now?
The divide by 2.
Fantastic. We move the divide by 2 from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. What does it become?
Times by 2.
Beautiful. What's 12 times by 2?
24.
Then we copy the X down and the question is finished. Lovely. Thank you for that, Meza. Okay. Next question. Since the video is rolling. Okay, let's have Mr. Musa, please. Join me on this question, young man. Okay, go on. Read.
45 is 9 less than 6 times this number.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me just do a little bit of extra cut and paste. I got one idea. Copy, paste. There we go. That's better. Okay, so Musa, can you start translating bit by bit for me, please?
So 45 is 45.
Okay, 45 is 45. Good. And what does the word is mean?
Is means equals.
Give me a second. I'm just okay. Next.
And 9 less than means minus 9.
Beautiful. And then.
And then 6 times this number means times timesing by 6.
So
And
6 times by what number? What's the missing number called?
x.
Okay. So if you translate it purely like that, 45 equals minus 9 from, well, where's the minus 9 coming from?
The minus 9 is coming
From what?
the x.
From the 6x. So it's
The
better if
6x.
you write it, as we've done before, if you write it more nicer. If you write 45 is equal to 6x minus the 9, you write it that way around because the 9 has been taken away from 6 times this number. So it makes sense for us to write this part first over here, the 6x, and then the 9 less than afterwards. Okay?
Yeah.
So now we're going to be dealing with the blue line now, the blue one. So what we're trying to work out here now that we've formed the equation, what we're trying to work out?
We're trying to work out what
X is.
What x is.
And how do we start the process? What do we do?
So the first thing we do is you have to identify the steps.
The steps or the actions, that's fine. I call it action, you call it step. That's lovely, it doesn't matter. Same thing. Okay, so what is the first action on the X?
The first action on the x is 6 times.
Fantastic. What's the second action on the X?
The second action is minus 9.
Which action do I move first?
So you move the second action.
You always move the last action first. Opposite of minus 9 is?
Add 9.
Fantastic. What's 45 add 9?
45 add 9 is 54.
What do we do with the 6x now? The minus 9 is gone. What do we do with the 6x? We copy it.
We copy it.
Copy it down. Copy it down, yeah?
It down.
And now what do we do? What do we move next?
We move the 6x.
No, not the 6. We move the time by 6.
You times by 6.
Opposite time by 6 is?
Divide by 6.
Fantastic. So, what's 54 divided by 6?
9.
Okay, lovely. That's the end of our second question, and the answer's done. Okay, so there was the first one. So this one had 3 more than half this number. So we had an adding part with the fractional part. This one we had 9 less than, so we have a minus part with 6 times the number, the multiplier part. So if you look at the two questions, the first one had plus 3, this one got minus 9. The first one had half of it, which is divided by 2. This one had 6 times, which is times by 6. So you have to literally translate the words and then put it together in the right way. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video now. You might add on to the video, put some more questions in there. Okay, 9 is 4 more than half this number. Can I have, please, Safa join me on this question and help us understand what's going on here. Off you go.
So 9 is 9.
9 is 9. Next.
It is equals.
Fantastic. And then?
4 more is add 4.
Fantastic. And the next part? Last
Half
part?
the number x divided by 2.
Right, lovely. Now, how do you write this so it looks a bit more connected? Can you rewrite it for me, please?
You write the 9.
Equals?
Add 4.
We write it so it not
No,
looks
divided by 2.
Because don't forget we are making the number 4 more than x over 2. So even though x over 2 is written last, we are actually writing it the other way around to make it more sense. Because 9 is, so x add the 4.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, what am I doing here? No, so x over 2 add the 4. So this bit gets written first, this bit gets written over here. So we're adding 4 onto the half of the number. Lovely. Now, how do we solve this now?
So you do the inverse of add 4, which is minus 4.
Okay, so what's the first thing that we do?
You start with the second.
X. You start
X.
looking at the x.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the second thing we do?
You identify the
The
action of it.
What's the first action?
The add 4.
The first action is divide by 2.
Yeah.
It won't be the add 4 because the divide by 2 is acting on the x straight away. X has been divided by 2 first, and then it's been added on by
4.
4. Now, if you don't identify what's happening first, second, third, you will not be able to rearrange it in the right order. You'll just make a mess of it. So which one do I move first?
The second action.
You move the second action first. We don't move the first one first. We're not identifying to match it. We're identifying to reverse them. Opposite of add 4 is?
-4.
-4. And what's 4 minus 9? What's 9 minus 4?
5.
Okay, and then what do you do with the x over 2?
You times it by 2, which
You
is
copy it down, and then you reverse the divide by 2, which becomes a?
10.
Opposite divide by 2 is?
No, times by 2.
Is times by 2. And what's 5 times by 2?
10.
So 10 is equal to x. Done. Okay, thank you for that. Right, let's have Mr. Musa for the next question, please. Go, Mr. Musa.
So 23 is 7 less than 3 times this number. 23 is 23 is equals 7 less than 3 is you do -7.
Give me a second. So 23 is equal 7 less than, what's 7 less than mean?
7 less than is -7.
And what do you mean by 3 times this number?
X 3 times x.
Okay, now how do we, so it's going to be 7 less than what number? 7 less than what?
7 less than x.
Then 3x.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how do you write that more nicer?
So you do 23 equals 3x minus 7.
Because normally we normally do minus something from something. So because we're taking the 7 away from the 3x, we write the 3x first. If I'm going to take £5 off you, Musa, you need to be physically there first in order for me to take the £5 off you. So for that reason, it's important that we write it in the right order so it makes more sense. Lovely. So Mr. Musa, what do we do now? So give me all the steps as though you're doing it from beginning, as I was doing it over here with the Safa. Give me all the steps, please. Don't miss things out. So where do we start?
So first we start at x.
So this is start, it means look, it means start by physically looking at what's happening at the x. So what's happening at the x then?
What's happening is that the x is being times by 3.
What do we call that?
We call that the first step or action.
That's lovely. And what's happening next?
So and the second action would be -7.
And which action do we move first?
We move the -7 first.
Okay, so you always move the last action first. So I always give the example to my students that we have a shop, we have 2 customers. The first customer is times by 3. The second customer is -7. So in my shop, I serve the last customer first. So you might find that strange, sir. Why are you serving the last customer first? Just think about that like what we're doing now. When we're solving, we're starting at the end and working to the beginning. Okay? So what's the opposite? So which one shall I move first? And again, tell us again.
We should move the second action first, which is -7.
And when you move that from the right to the left, what does it become?
It becomes add 7.
Now what's 23 at 7?
30.
Okay, and then what do we do now? We copy down there.
We copy down the 3 times x.
And what do we move now?
We move the 3 times by 3.
Which is the first action, move it last. Opposite time by 3 is?
Divide by 3.
That's right.
So then x would equal 10.
Fantastic, mister. Well done. Look at that, mashallah, we've done those 4 questions there. All beautifully done. Now we need to go on to 24.2 and 24.3. Actually, 24.3, mashallah, is actually quite easy. It's a really nice one. You'll love that one. 24.2 is a little bit kind of like you have to do it in reverse order. So I'm going to stop the video now for 24.1. And then you'll be able to watch that now on YouTube when you go back home. So, don't make noise. So.